joining the live seminar. So the wanting security or survival program, an attachment side, which is the wanting to live, wanting to be secure, wanting to be safe. And the aversion side is the wanting to die. The aversion to life, wanting to end it, wanting to get rid of it. And the wanting security feels threatened and unsafe. The wanting to die feels like wanting to give up, a rejection of life. And the synonyms for wanting security are wanting to be safe, wanting to survive, wanting to get revenge, wanting to protect ourselves and others, wanting to attack, wanting to defend, wanting to kill, wanting to be safe. And then the synonyms for wanting to die are wanting danger, wanting to end it all, wanting to expose ourselves and others to attack, wanting to be attacked, wanting to be defenseless, wanting to be killed, wanting to be annihilated, wanting to be threatened. Now, again, just like with the wanting disapproval, that may not be obvious in every situation. But there may be some situations in your life where you can actually feel that or see that. And again, don't force this. Allow it to be organic. Just be open to the possibility that these two opposing desires or wants are in your experience, and explore it and see what comes up. So let's do a release on that. Allow yourself to think of a situation in your life where you've been wanting security or survival. I'll give you a hint. Think of things like the IRS, government, the news. That ought to get you going right there. But also life-threatening illnesses for yourself or someone you care about. Aging. The list goes on and on. You find your own. And in this moment, notice what it feels like, or what the sensations are, what the sounds are, the thoughts in your mind, or the pictures that are there having to do with wanting security or survival. And could you just let them be there? And then as best you can, could you simply let that go? Could you set it free as best you can? And then focus on that same situation or any other situation in your life. Remember, both wants may or may not be in the same situation. Where you're wanting to die. Where you're wanting to end it all. You're wanting not to survive. Or you're wanting to take inordinate risks to see how far you can push the envelope. And could you welcome whatever sensations, pictures, or sounds arise from that? And then as best you can, could you simply let that go? Set it free. Drop it. And again, focus on that same situation or any other situation where you're wanting security or survival, where you're feeling unsafe. By the way, you can feel unsafe and the response could be to want to be safe, or you can feel unsafe and the response could be just wanting to end it all. But in this moment, could you just simply welcome the wanting survival, the sensations, pictures, and sounds that arise with that? And then could you set that free? Could you let it go as best you can? And then focus on that same situation or some other situation where you've been wanting to die. You've been wanting to end it all. You've been wanting it to be over. And could you welcome whatever sensations, pictures, or sounds that stirs up inside? And as best you can, could you just set that free? Could you let it go? Just drop it. Let it unravel. And then again, focus on that same situation or some other situation where you've been wanting security or survival. You've been wanting to be safe. And could you welcome the sensations, pictures, or sounds that come from that? Could you let them be here? And then could you let go of wanting security or survival? Could you let go of wanting to be safe? And then could you focus on that same situation or some other situation where you've been wanting to die? And could you welcome the sensations, pictures, and sounds that come from that? And then as best you can, could you simply set that free? Just let it go. And again, focus on that same situation or some other situation in your life where you've been wanting security or survival. Where you've been wanting to be safe. And could you welcome whatever sensations, pictures, or sounds are generated by that one? And then as best you can, could you simply set that free? Let it go. Drop it. Allow it to unravel. And then again, could you focus on that same situation or some other situation where you've been wanting to die? You've been wanting it all to end. Now remember, for most of us, that's a little harder to access. And if that's the case, don't force it. Let that be okay. If it comes up, great. And if it doesn't, just release on that. It may just be a slight sense of it. It may not be strong. And could you welcome whatever sensations, pictures, and sounds come up in response to that, including the sensations, pictures, or sounds of, I can't find that. What is he talking about? And then as best you can, could you simply let that go? Set it free, drop it. And then again, could you allow yourself to focus on that same thing or anywhere else where you're wanting to be safe, where you're wanting to survive? And could you welcome whatever pictures, sensations, or sounds arise from that wanting? And then could you just simply set it free? Could you let it go as best you can? And then again, see if there's any situation in your life at all where there's even a little wanting to die, wanting to not survive, where there's a fear of living. And if so, could you just simply welcome those sensations, pictures and sounds into awareness? And then could you just simply set it free? Let it go as best you can. Focus on that same situation or anywhere else where you're feeling the wanting to survive, the wanting to be safe, the fear of death. And notice what sensations, pictures, and sounds that brings up inside. And could you just set them free? Could you let that want go as best you can? And then check to see if there's any fear of living, any wanting to die in this moment about anything. And if so, could you just simply welcome whatever sensations or pictures or sounds that brings up into awareness? And then could you just let go? Could you set that free as best you can? Okay. So again, we're getting deeper here. So there's more charge to some of this. And that's okay. Remember, you don't have to force this. You don't have to effort at this. Sometimes when you focus on this, a lot will come, and sometimes not much at all. And whatever the experience is, that's totally okay. So let's move on to the deepest one. The one that's based on there's a me and there's other than me. So the separation program on the attachment side is a wanting to be one. You're wanting to go back to the way you felt as a young child, way before you realized that you were really supposed to be separate and different from everybody else. And it feels like a wanting to connect or dissolve into the one or the all. On the aversion side is a wanting to be separate, and it feels like a wanting to pull away or reject, move away from all the supposed others, and to maintain this like separate identity called me. And the synonyms for wanting to be one are wanting to unite, to accept, to be equal with, to be ordinary, to attach, to associate, to join, to connect. And then on the aversion side, the synonyms for wanting to be separate are wanting to be alone, to reject, to look down on, to stand out, to be special, to detach, to disassociate, to disconnect. And again, remember, these are opposing forces. We get lost in the little dot in between. That's what squishes us into the belief that this is all real and this is all true suffering. So, this deepest one can be quite subtle because it's really there all the time. As long as you think there's a me and other than me, there's going to be a wanting to feel complete again, a wanting to feel whole again, a wanting that union that you know is right there, because it really is. This me that we believe we are is made up. And we won't get into that too much in this course, but that's part of what we address. And I'll talk about that a little bit at the end of the course on our 7-day retreats, showing you how to move beyond this illusion called me. But for now, we'll focus on those two opposing forces that keep us suffering, that keep us off balance. So allow yourself to focus inside and allow yourself to focus on a situation in your life where you've been wanting to be one. Again, here you may or may not need to focus on specific situations. The wanting to be separate and the wanting to be one are so pervasive that they're there almost all the time. So could you just simply focus on that feeling of wanting to be one? And see if there are any sensations or pictures or sounds that come up with that. And as best you can, could you let go of wanting to be one? Could you just set that free? And then focus on the aversion side. See if there's any wanting to separate, wanting to be separate from the supposed others. Wanting to maintain your special or unique identity. And see if there are any sensations or pictures or sounds that come up with that. And then as best you can, could you let go of wanting to be separate? Could you just drop that as best you can? And then again, allow yourself to focus on the wanting to be one. It may or may not be associated with any particular situation. And see if there are any sensations or pictures or sounds attached to that. And as best you can, could you let go of wanting to be one? And then check to see if there's any wanting to be separate, wanting to maintain that separate identity, wanting to stand out or be special, be unique, be different. And if so, see if that brings up with it any sensations, pictures, or sounds. And as best you can, could you just simply let go of wanting to be separate? And again, check for any wanting to be one, wanting to connect, wanting to merge, wanting to join, wanting to feel complete or whole again. And if so, could you welcome whatever sensations, picture, and sounds that may be arising with that? And then as best you can, could you let go of wanting to be one. And then check to see if there's any wanting to be separate, wanting to be unique or special or different or stand out. And if so, see if that brings up any sensations, pictures, or sounds with it. And could you welcome that? And then, as best you can, could you just simply set that free? Just let it go. And then check to see if there's any more wanting to be one in this moment. Any wanting to be unique or special or apart from. And could you welcome whatever sensations, pictures, or sounds are arising with that? And then could you just simply set that free? Let it go as best you can. And then check to see if there's any wanting to be separate, or special, or unique, or apart from. Any wanting to reject. And then notice what sensations, pictures, or sounds arise with that. And then could you simply set that one free? Let it go as best you can. And let's just do one more pair. Check again to see if there's any wanting to be one, wanting to merge, wanting to join, wanting to connect, wanting to be complete, to be whole. And if so, see if there are any sensations, pictures, or sounds that arise with that. And then could you let that go? Could you just set it free? And then check to see if there's any wanting to be separate, unique, or special. And if so, could you welcome the sensations, pictures, or sounds that that engenders? And then could you just simply set that free? Let it go as best you can. Okay. This is again an exercise you could keep doing over and over again and get more and more expanded inside, more and more spacious, more and more relaxed and open. Let's go over the 6 steps. So these 6 steps are a summation of everything that we've been doing so far. And they're kind of the nuts and bolts behind the basic process that we call the Sedona method. And the first step is to want freedom or your goal more than you want approval, control, security, or separation or oneness. If you're wanting any of those wants more, that's what you'll get. You'll get the wanting as opposed to the freedom or the goal. And again, it's not a have to or a must do or a should do. It's just something that if you are aware of, you'll notice that as you let go, your desire for that freedom that you already are and for your goal will increase, and your holding on to these wants will decrease. The next thing is simply decide that you can release and be free. If there's any doubt, just simply let that go. It's really just a decision to decide that you can do the method, that you can let go, and you can have your goals and be the freedom that you already are. 3 is allow yourself to perceive that the feelings that you experience from moment to moment culminate in these wants, the wanting approval, control, security, and separation. If you start to perceive that, what you'll notice is that a lot of you have already noticed that. Just in the perceiving of it, you drop it. You let it go. It dissolves all by itself. You don't actually have to effort at it. And then step 4 is make its use constant. As you release, get into the habit of releasing in life, you'll find that you'll naturally want to do it more. You'll naturally find that letting go becomes more natural, more part of your every moment experience. And as you do that, you also discover that even without letting go, you feel more whole, complete, and perfect as you are, more at rest. And that, too, is nurtured and okay. You don't have to force that, just allow that to be there. And then, if you're stuck, let go of wanting to change or control the stuckness. Now, that stuckness, by the way, if it happens, doesn't mean there's something wrong. It doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. Is you'll notice that the mind does fight this. It's not always willing to not suffer, because suffering is part of the purpose of the mind. Part of what it does is it creates conflict. Part of what it does is it creates conflict so it can solve conflict. It makes you suffer, and then it pretends it's saving the day. You probably noticed that. It's the one causing the trouble a lot of the time anyway, by its artificial polarities that it generates. This is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad. And that's causing the suffering. Then it tries to help you get out of it. It's like the cop trying to arrest itself, or putting the thief in charge of the safe. But that's what we do. But as you keep letting go, what you notice is that the mind no longer is your master, it becomes your servant. And if you find yourself getting stuck, simply let go of wanting to change or control the stuckness. One of the ways, by the way, you can do that is if you're having a hard time letting go in any moment, then give yourself permission to hold on, just for now. In giving yourself permission to hold on just for now, then you can make a new choice. So if you're feeling stuck at all, which could feel overwhelmed, I don't want to do this anymore, get me out of here, or like you feel like you hit a wall with releasing, or in life, simply either let go of wanting to change it, or let yourself be with what is for a moment. Let yourself hold on if you are, and then you can always make a new choice. And the last step is step 6, and that is each time you do this process, you'll feel lighter and freer and more effective. And the more you do that, the more you'll notice that. And it generates a momentum. And it also helps reinforce the first step. The more you see this works, the more you see that freedom is here and now and really possible to you, the more your desire for it increases, until that drops away too, and you realize that you already have it. You already are it. And you've been that all along. In this next exercise, what we'll be doing is putting together many of the tools that we've learned so far into one longer process that you can use anytime you need to do further releasing on any topic. It will give you a better sense of how these tools fit together, and it will also be a useful tool to refer to over and over again as you work with the Sedona method. Remember, as you use the Sedona method, its most powerful application is in life, and we'll talk more about that after the process. So for the sake of this process, allow yourself to think of some situation in your life, either a problem, a goal, something to do with making more money, having better relationships, having more radiant health or well-being, or any topic whatsoever. Remember, this following process is all-purpose. And the first thing we'll be doing is just clearing the space to allow ourselves to go as deeply as we can. So allow yourself to focus inside. And for a moment, could you just let everything else drop away as best you can? And could you simply be present with whatever is present in this moment? And could you also simply welcome the presence or beingness that you are? And could you allow yourself to expand your sense of welcoming or allowing to also include whatever is being heard in this moment? The sound of my voice, the sounds in your environment, and whatever inner sounds you're making in the form of thoughts. And could you also welcome the silence that allows for all hearing, without which no hearing is possible? And then could you allow your sense of welcoming to expand even further, to include whatever is being felt in this moment, whatever sensations you're experiencing? The physical sensations of the rising and falling of your chest and diaphragm as you breathe, the air rushing through your nostrils or through your mouth, the temperature and sensations touching your skin, and whatever inner sensations you're experiencing, positive or negative, it doesn't matter, as well as whatever emotion. Could you just simply welcome whatever feeling or sensation is arising in this moment? And could you also welcome the emptiness, the space, the presence, the isness, that all sensations appear in or on? And then could you expand your sense of welcoming even further to include whatever is being seen? Whatever is being seen around you, whatever inner pictures you're experiencing, even the patterns of light and dark that may be appearing on the inside of your eyelids if you have your eyes closed. And again, could you also welcome the emptiness, the space, the presence, the isness, in or on which all pictures appear? And while allowing yourself to remain as welcoming and as allowing and as open as possible, let's focus on your topic. See if there's anything about your topic that you're wanting to change, you're wanting to control, you're resisting. And if so, could you just simply welcome whatever sensations, pictures, or sounds arise as you resist or want to change something? And then as best you can, could you let go of wanting to change it? Could you let go of resisting it? Could you let go of wanting to control it? Remember, you're always letting go as best you can. A little bit goes a very long way. Focus on that same thing or anything else about your topic that you're wanting to control or you're resisting or wanting to change. And could you welcome that resistance or wanting to change it or wanting to control, along with whatever sensations, pictures, or sounds that brings up inside of you? And then as best you can, could you let go of that wanting to control, that resistance or wanting to change it? Again, focus on that same thing or anything else about that topic that you're resisting, wanting to change, or wanting to control. And could you welcome that resistance or wanting to change it or wanting to control it, along with whatever sensations, pictures, or sounds that brings up in your awareness? And then as best you can, could you just drop it? Could you let go of any resistance, wanting to change, or wanting to control you may be experiencing in this moment? And again, focus on that same thing or anything else about your topic that you're resisting or wanting to change or wanting to control. And could you welcome that resistance or wanting to change it or wanting to control, along with whatever sensations, pictures, or sounds that brings up in your awareness? And then as best you can, could you let go of resisting it or wanting to change it or wanting to control it? And now check to see if you have any feeling at all, positive or negative, about your topic. And could you welcome that feeling as best you can, along with whatever sensations, pictures, or sounds that brings up in awareness? And then could you dig a little deeper and see if that feels like it's coming from a wanting approval, control, security, separation, or oneness? Remember, often it feels like the answer is yes to that question, all the above. Or you may not be sure. In any case, simply pick one. Pick the one you're most aware of, or the one you'd like to let go of first. And then whichever one you're most aware of in this moment, could you let it go? Could you just drop it? Set it free as best you can. And then again, allow yourself to welcome however you're feeling about your topic, along with whatever sensations, pictures, or sounds that brings up in awareness. And then could you dig a little deeper and see if that feels like it's coming from a wanting approval, control, security, separation, or oneness? And whichever one you're most aware of in this moment, could you allow yourself to set it free, to let it go as best you can? And again, allow yourself to notice or welcome whatever feeling you have about the situation, your topic, along with whatever sensations, pictures, or sounds that brings up in awareness. And then could you dig a little deeper and see if that feels like it's coming from a wanting approval, control, security, separation, or oneness? Remember, it's okay to simply pick one. If you're getting into any kind of internal debate, then just drop that too, and just focus on any want. And then whichever want you're most aware of, or most in the mood to let go of first, could you let that go? Could you set it free? Drop it as best you can. And then again, allow yourself to welcome whatever you're feeling in this moment about your topic, along with the sensations, the sounds, including thoughts, and the pictures that brings up inside of you. Allow it all to be here. Welcome it as best you can. And then dig a little deeper and see if that feels like it's coming from a wanting approval, control, security, separation, or oneness. And whichever one you're most aware of in this moment, could you just set it free? Could you let it go as best you can? And again, welcome however you're feeling in this moment. Let it be here as best you can, along with whatever sensations, pictures, or sounds that brings up in awareness. And then dig a little deeper and see if that feels like it's coming from a wanting approval, control, security, separation, or oneness. And whichever one you're most aware of in this moment, could you just set it free? Could you let it go as best you can? Could you just drop it? And another way you can release on any topic is holistically. When you're doing holistic releasing, you simply find whatever you believe the feeling problem is, and then what you would have if you'd already let it go. And then you simply switch back and forth between the two sides, welcoming them both as best you can until they dissolve each other. In this moment, see if there's still any remaining contraction around whatever your topic is. Any feeling of tension, holding on, holding back, or contraction. And could you welcome that as best you can? And then could you also welcome whatever relaxation, whatever openness, whatever expansion there is in this moment? Now, if you've been very contracted about something, the expansion, the openness, the relaxation may start out very small, but that's okay, because as you go back and forth, miracles happen. Again, could you welcome whatever remaining tension, contraction, holding on, holding back there is in this moment? Just let it be here. And could you also welcome the relaxation, the openness, the expansion that is here now? And again, could you welcome any remaining contraction, tension, holding on, or holding back you're experiencing in this moment? And could you also welcome the relaxation, the openness, the expansion, the letting go? And again, could you welcome whatever remaining contraction there is in this moment, whatever remaining tension or holding on or holding back? And could you also welcome the relaxation, the openness, the letting go, the expansion. That's also right here, right now. And then check one more time for any remaining contraction or holding on. And could you welcome whatever, if any, is remaining? And could you also welcome the emptiness or openness, expansion, relaxation, or letting go that is always here, always now? Now, if you were doing this on your own, you would continue to go back and forth until you felt as much relief as you were looking for. But let's move on together to our next tool. Another very powerful releasing tool is allowing yourself to dive into the very core of any feeling or any issue. And in doing that, at first it may intensify slightly, but if you're willing to stop treading water and dive into the very core, beyond the sensations, pictures, and sounds, beyond the story, beyond the considerations, beyond everything that's happening on the surface, what you discover is this emptiness, this space, this presence that's always here, always now, just below your conscious focus. So again, allow yourself to focus on your topic. Now, it may be harder to get into any kind of feeling at the moment. Just do the best you can. Just like with all the releasing tools, you don't have to wait till a feeling is strong before it works. And you can also allow yourself to dive into good feelings. That also has a very profound effect. So could you welcome whatever remaining feeling, along with whatever sensations, pictures, or sounds you have about this particular topic? Really let it be here. And then, as best you can, could you allow yourself to dive into the very core of this feeling, beyond the sensations, beyond the pictures, and beyond the sounds? And could you go even deeper? Allow yourself to notice where all sensations, pictures, or sounds are arising from, yet never touch. And could you go deeper still, beyond any remaining noise on the surface, beyond any remaining turbulence on the surface, beyond any remaining sensations, pictures, or sounds, to the heart of awareness that is always here, always now? And if there's still any kind of discomfort, know that too is just on the surface, and go even deeper. And then, as best you can, could you just simply rest as the openness, the presence, the isness, the beingness that is always at your core, always here, always now? And if you're holding on to anything at all in this moment, could you just let it go? Drop it as best you can. And just allow yourself, at least for this moment, to rest as the presence that you are.
And while allowing yourself to remain at rest, gradually allow awareness to take a more external focus. And whenever it's ready to, if it hasn't already, allow it to open those eyelids. Okay. I think you can see that as you work with this process, you'll get more and more out of it. If you struggle a little with any part of it, remember that every one of the tools that make up the Sedona method are interchangeable. If you're diving in and you can't seem to get anywhere, then switch to letting go or welcoming. If you're welcoming and dissolving isn't happening inside of yourself, then just let go. Holistic releasing can be used anytime where you feel like you have your back against the wall or can see only one possibility. So remember, all these tools are interchangeable. And as you explore this in your life, you'll discover that certain tools are more appropriate at certain times. For instance, welcoming, allowing your feelings to simply pass through awareness, is something that you can be doing all day long, even if you're in intense activity. It's the best thing to do in action because it requires the least conscious awareness. It's simply a letting go and an opening inside that you can simply keep open. In other words, we tend to contract a lot inside and hold on and kind of barrel our way through life. But if you allow yourself to experiment with this, you'll discover that you can live life wide open. You can live life allowing sensations, pictures, and sounds to simply pass through awareness as they do. You can allow for whatever you're experiencing. And the more you do that, the more life becomes fun, interesting, enjoyable, and also, interestingly enough, you also become a lot more effective at everything you do. Letting go of resistance or wanting to change what is also a very powerful tool to use in action, or when you only have a few minutes to focus on releasing. By the way, I highly recommend that you take little releasing breaks throughout the day to just remind yourself to interrupt the patterns in consciousness that are keeping you stuck or keeping you in suffering, and let go. Even just a minute break to let go, a couple of releases on wanting to change it or resistance, makes a huge difference. Also throughout your day, I highly recommend that you look for the harmony, the perfection, the flow that's already here and now. If you do that, you'll start to find more and more of that in your life. Remember, this is not a denial of what is. It's just that the mind is habituated to look for problems. So if you give it something else to look for, the harmony, the gains, the perfection, the flow, the ease that's already there, you'll find more and more of that. When you have more focused time to release, I also highly recommend that you focus on letting go of the wants. This too can be done in action, because as you work with this, you'll start to spontaneously notice when you're wanting to control, or when you're wanting approval, or when you're wanting survival, or when you're wanting to be separate, or when you're wanting to be one. As you get more familiar with them, just in seeing them, you'll find they dissolve in that moment. And so you can do those in action as well. But it's also very helpful to do when you have more focused time to do releasing. Holistic releasing can be done anytime as well, but that requires sometimes a little more focus. So I would wait for a releasing break, or wait for a time you're going to be focusing more concentratedly on releasing. And diving in, I would recommend you save that for times where you have stronger emotion, where you really want to pop through and break it all apart very quickly and easily. But if you're struggling at all with diving in, know that's normal. For some people in the beginning it's a little difficult. But if you're having an easy time with it, you don't have to make it difficult because others struggle. And if you are struggling, that's okay. All these tools are interchangeable, and they all get easier to do as you work with them. So allow yourself to experiment with all these tools in life, and watch as everything gets easier, more natural, more fun, more enjoyable, and more productive. Watch as your whole life is filled with more and more of whatever you choose. Enjoy.
That is in a nutshell, is showing you how to apply